Hello students, welcome to our latest update program. In this video, we'll talk about the two new additions, the two new Ramsar sites from India which have been recognized as wetlands of international importance. So these become very important for our examination. So we will begin by understanding what wetlands are and then we will talk about the two new Ramsar sites of India. So let's get started. What do you understand? What do you understand by wetlands? So wetlands are basically a transitional zone between two different types of ecosystems. They are a transition between the terrestrial ecosystem and the aquatic ecosystem. They are a transitional zone between the terrestrial ecosystem and the aquatic ecosystem. They are basically areas where land meets water, but water is the primary controlling factor of the environment. And wetlands are one of the most productive ecosystems of the world because of the multiple uses that they have. So just to name a few, if I talk about the coastal wetlands, these help us in controlling floods because they act as natural sponges. Wetlands start acting as natural sponges and they absorb the excess rainwater to help us in controlling the flood. Then they also help us in groundwater recharge. They recharge the groundwater. They also help in maintaining the balance of the entire ecosystem with the role that they play in nutrient cycling. The phosphorus cycle, nitrogen cycle, the role that they play in nutrient cycling. Then they also help us with biodiversity conservation. Because they provide a habitat to different species of flora and fauna, and many of them are endangered or vulnerable species also. So they provide a habitat to these different types of species. They help us in conserving the biodiversity as well. And then they always provide livelihood support to communities who rely on fishing, to communities who rely on agriculture, who rely on ecotourism, etc. So they are important for all those communities as well. The importance of the wetlands is very high, and that is why it becomes very important for the countries to start working towards the conservation of these wetlands, because humans pose the major threat to wetlands. The rapid urbanization, the increase in human settlements and the unsustainable activities like deforestation, industrialization, etc. that come along with rapid urbanization lead to a destruction of these ecosystems. They lead to a destruction of these wetlands. And whenever there is a destruction of this ecosystem, all the different uses that it was, all the different purposes that it was serving, they are also going to be hampered. So that's why it becomes extremely important for countries to start working towards the sustainable utilization of these wetlands. And for that we have an international convention, which is the Ramsar Convention. Ramsar Convention of the Conservation of Wetlands, which was signed in 1971. India became a signatory to this in 1982. This basically recognizes certain wetlands as wetlands of international importance, and whenever any wetland is recognized as a wetland of international importance, the home country starts working towards the conservation of that wetland. More funds are provided for the conservation of that wetland. Sustainable utilization of the wetland starts happening because now it gets a global recognition. So India became a signatory to Ramsar Convention in 1982. Chilka Lake was our first addition, the first Ramsar site, and now with the addition of these two new sites that we'll talk about, the total number of Ramsar sites in India has gone up to 96. We have 96 Ramsar sites in India. So now let's talk about these two new additions. The first one is from Rajasthan, the Siligard Lake from Alwar, Rajasthan. Now this is a man-made lake, it's an artificial lake, and this was built in 1845 by Maharaja Vinay Singh to provide drinking water to Alwar district. This basically it's built in a semi-arid zone, and the role that it was built for was to provide drinking water, to supply drinking water to Alwar district. It's an artificial lake, and it helps us in biodiversity conservation as well because it hosts many different types of flora and fauna. It is actually located in the buffer zone of a tiger reserve. Which tiger reserve do we have in Alwar? It is the Sariska Tiger Reserve. This is present, it's located in the buffer zone of Sariska Tiger Reserve, and it hosts different types of endangered and vulnerable and rare species. If I name one, it provides habitat to the black stork, which is a very rare species. So it becomes a it becomes a natural site for bird watching. It helps us in irrigation facilities also. It provides water supply for drinking water also. So it has multiple purposes, just like other wetlands. This wetland also has major important purposes that it serves, but it was also under a huge threat because of the rapid urbanization of human settlements. Then if I talk about the next edition, then this is from Chhattisgarh. It's the Copra Jalasher it's near Bilaspur in Chhattisgarh. This is the first wetland from Chhattisgarh, the first Ramsar site from Chhattisgarh, and the 96th site from India. Now this basically is a reservoir. Copra Jalashay is a reservoir. It has irrigation purposes, and this also hosts many endangered and vulnerable species. Again, if I name one important species here, it's the Egyptian vulture, and this is located in the upper catchment of river Mahanadi. So Kopra Jalashay also becomes an important bird watching site. It also becomes an important reservoir that helps us with irrigation facilities. It also provides drinking water supply to the nearby areas. So again, this also serves a lot of different purposes. This also was under threat because of the urbanization, the increase in human settlement, deforestation, industrialization, different types of pollution around the areas that basically led to the destruction of these wetlands. And now these two have been recognized as the new Ramsar sites from India. So India is now going to work towards the conservation, work more towards the conservation of these sites. More funding will be provided, more importance will be given, more stringent laws are going to be there in place for the conservation of these wetlands, so that these can be restored for the multiple purposes that they serve. So that was all for this video. Thank you for watching. Now let us practice a question for prelims. With reference to Ramsar sites in India, consider the following statements. 1. Ramsar sites are wetlands of international importance designated under an intergovernmental treaty signed in 1971. 2. India became a signatory to Ramsar Convention in 1982. 3. Chilka Lake was the first Ramsar site in India. Which of the statements given above is or are correct? A. 2 and 3 only, B. 1 and 2 only, C. 1 and 3 only, or D. 1, 2 and 3. Please attempt this question and provide your answers in the comment section. Thank you for watching.
For more informative content, like, share and subscribe, and do not forget to press the bell icon to get the notifications.